Alright guys, I'm back with another video. So some of y'all had asked me to do a video going from Marvelous Designer to Character Creator to Unreal. I'm going to do that today. So first open up a Character Creator, go to your pose on your default character or whatever character you have that you want to use. Now select open go to a pose actually, or actually I'm going to use relaxed. I think that should work alright. Let's see. I'm going to use this one, and it's going to be a pain. So I might want to choose a different one. Let's do this one. Yeah, that one will be easy. So we're going to go to export. We're going to go to OBJ character with current pose. Make sure to check remove hidden mesh, or else there might be a hidden mesh that's preventing your clothes from draping properly. Choose a folder and choose a folder and save it. And then go into here, go to File, Add, Avatar, go to female.obj. Make sure you change this from millimeters to centimeters, the scale, and press OK. That's it. And now I'm thinking, should we go with that one? Let's see. That one's gonna look weird. That one's gonna be too hard to get the things right on it. I'm not gonna go with the long dress. Long dresses are a nightmare to work with. How about, well, I've done that one before, and there's a few issues with it because it's like so stiff. So, you know what, let's try this one. Go to Add and press OK. Might have to tilt it a little, something like that. Okay, that's just one solid piece. And just move these out like that. And then press spacebar to simulate. Actually, you should probably change your thing right here to GPU for the first initial simulation, otherwise it'll be real laggy. You can press spacebar at any time to go leave simulation and actuality. Select all of these, make sure that your particle distance is around 1520, that's ideal. And then you can simulate it again. And what we need to do is actually go out of simulation or stop the simulation. Select this, right click on it and unfreeze. That's our issue. Now press spacebar to simulate. And this might end up being a nightmare to work with. I'm just gonna let you know. But I think I don't know. I don't think that's frozen. No, it's not. Okay. So anyway, that should be good. So we're gonna select this, and I'm gonna bring it down. Actually, I'm gonna bring it down here. Just stick it down here somewhere where it's not overlapping with these two things, and then go into your you can also change it up here. Go to 2D pattern and go to UV editor. And you can right click and reset UV to 2D arrangement. And then right click again and fit all UVs to 0 to 1 scale. And just say OK. Now it's important when you're doing these that you squeeze as much textile density out of this as you can. You might even be able to rotate these and flip these and try to piece them together into a square. I'm not real sure how easy that would be. So if I just did something like that, yeah, that's about right. I just wanted to make sure. And then you could probably do something like and the reason why is because, for example, if you're using a 2K texture, remember 2K is going to go from here down to here, or actually from here up to here. So this entire square is going to be 2K. So the smaller these pieces are, the more wasted space and the less of those pixels can be packed inside of here. And so you can kind of cheat it a little bit to get better textile density, as they call it. So select this and go to File, Export OBJ selected. And now we're going to come in here and we're going to say dress. And I'm going to save it. And we're going to say thin and weld. And make sure this is centimeters. And I think that's okay the way it is. Give it a second to finish exporting. It still says exporting. Okay, yeah, that's because it is still exporting. I thought maybe it was bugged out. I do not know why it's taking so long. Okay, it's done. So over here, we are going to go to Create, Accessory. We're going to select that dress. And of course, as always, it comes in out of orientation. So we're going to have to move it back into orientation. And I think that's good. Don't want it dragging the ground. I'm just going to move it up a little bit more. So now we can transfer skin weights, and we can select dress and apply, and you're going to get some weird stuff here in different poses. So let's go ahead and see what kind of weird stuff we get. That don't look bad. This is mostly going to be physics, so I'm not too worried about how it looks in here. She's not going to be running in a dress. She probably shouldn't be running in a dress, but we're going to check our poses here. This looks a little jagged back here. You could go to skin weights. And that's quite a bit denser than what I expected it to be. Okay. I did not mean for it to be that dense. Why is it so dense? That's because not all of those are set to 20. Jesus, I should have seen that. Okay, we're gonna have to simulate it again. Let's select these two pieces actually and set these to 15. That looks a little bit better, as you can see. All right. I dare say I want to make it even smaller, but oh well. So select all of these. Sorry about that, guys. If you want, you can skip this part. I have to redo it. It's kind of why I was putting this video off. This is very tedious stuff at times. A lot of waiting. Trial and error. And I overlooked that. I apologize. It's kind of easy to overlook stuff like that in here. You don't want it to be real dense. For one, you could just reduce it in here, but it can cause problems because their reduction algorithm isn't exactly ideal. So, oops, and yeah. I don't know why this new version seems to be running a little bit more sluggish than the old version. I don't know. Anyway. There it goes. That time it was a bit faster. So we're going to go to accessory, dress. I'm going to press W, bring it back a little. Move it up. I think I need to move it forward a little. Actually, okay, yeah. So I did. I have to bring it back. Yeah, that's probably about right. Okay, so let's do this again. Transfer skin weights, dress, apply, close, and now we're getting some bleeding of the underwear through the back and the leg, so we're going to go to conform, go to smooth level 2, and then press calculate collision. That should fix it. It fixed it. So also you can make this a little bigger by just pressing that one time, then closing that out by pressing the minus sign up there. Then we can go back to checking poses. We can go to fall. We can go to skin weights, and we can try to smooth this out. You might screw stuff up when you do this, so you got to be careful. Select smooth right here, the one with the squiggly looking water lines, and just go along that edge on both of these. Also, you can select mirror X, and that'll mirror on the other bone as well, so you can kind of smooth them both at the same time You'll still have to come back to the other one, but it's not a perfect mirror, so keep that in mind. Now it's starting to get fixed. Okay. We need to fix this as well. We have to go all the way across here. And then we need to do the knees, I think. Actually, we might need to go to a standing pose to do this. And you see that right there? Those little marks. I think that's what we need to smooth out. It's a little slow because it's still pretty dense. I probably should have made it a little less dense. But, oh well. Let's try smoothing it out along the bottom of this as well. And here. You might get some artifacts here. It seems like it's kind of screwing stuff up here. That's not good. You have to keep going back from bone to bone because you mess with one bone, it could screw stuff up on another bone. Let's see, now it's fixed. I want to do that part because I didn't actually want to do that. So I need to smooth out all this little green aurora looking stuff here. The good thing is you only have to do most of this one time for one character. For the most part, it shouldn't be an issue with other characters, so. Okay, now let's try it again. That's a little bit better. You can keep tweaking with it if you want. It's mostly down here around this area. Now let's try that again. And yeah, that's probably about as good as we're gonna get it. It's still pretty bad, but I don't want to spend too much time on that. Y'all get the idea. Doing this stuff is real tedious. Best just to try to get it looking decent, and it looks decent, so we might not have any issues. We'll have to see. We shouldn't. I don't think the character should ever be in these poses, to be honest with you. So I don't think it's really important. So you'll get stuff like that in these poses. You're not going to get this perfect. If you're working with a dress, I would suggest using physics. I would suggest never trying to get it to where you don't need physics and it still looks good, because that's practically impossible. I'm just going to put that out there right now. is probably not going to work out for you. So now we're going to go and we're going to export this as FBX clothed character. We're going to go to Unreal. We are going to not use current pose. We need to select open a UE4 pose and then go to File, Export, FBX, Unreal. Actually, let me give her some hair. I'm just going to give her this default one. Actually, do I have some custom ones here? I guess not. I don't know what happened to those ones that I made. Okay, anyway, we're just going to export it like this. Export FBX closed character. We'll select those. Actually, you don't really need this one, but I'll select it anyway. Honestly, what I like to do is you can do this to get LODs for it so that it looks better. These are normally good for NPCs. For your main character, you don't need LODs. I would merge materials by item and bake the textures till like 2048. You could do 4K if you want. It's up to you. For this, I guess I'll do 4K. So, just to show you what it looks like when you do that. And the reason why we do this, or why I do this, is because she'll have less materials. So instead of maybe having like 13 or 30 different materials, she'll have like maybe 5 or 7. So on the desktop, I'm just going to call this female Unreal. Save it. Create you a third person character blueprint inside of Unreal. Launch it and create it. Alright, and we are back. So that took a long time. I don't know why. So after you've exported it, open up your third person project in Unreal. If you haven't, create one. Actually, there's one more thing we need to do. We need to go to Plugins, Character Creator, and iClone Auto Setup, and go to Get the Tool. No, go to Browse Files. Yeah, and you'll see Unreal, and then 4.27. I'm just going to right-click this content folder and go to Show and Explore. We're going to exit out of this temporarily. Pull up this one. I'm going to Control-C that and then paste it right in here. Then you can close that one. You can close that one if you want. Actually, don't close it yet. I'm going to show you something here. So we have our dress here. I'm just going to exit out of that. We're going to go to the illusion. Actually, we can go to online manual here. And then we can go to, let's see. Layering, clothing. It's not what I was wanting. There's a template here somewhere. I just have to find it. Use texture, skin weights. Oh yeah, here we go, right here. So let's see, for dresses, it's going to be a long dress. Let's see, you just have to look through here for your piece of clothing. Dresses touching the floor is number 10. So we are going to go to cloth layer setup. We're going to press this gear icon and we're going to change this to 10. We're going to press OK. You could run collision, but I won't recommend it because it's going to undo whatever you just did. So you're going to go over here to clothing, go to custom, go to, I guess we could put it under skirts. And just call it dress. And I just press that plus icon right here, by the way. And now you have that saved as a template. So now you can close it if you want. I'm just going to leave it open for now. And where did my Unreal project go? Oh yeah, that's right. I closed out of it. Okay, so come back over here. Just open it up by double clicking this. Or you can open it up through your Epic Games launcher. This does take a second. Okay, so we're going to right click, create a new folder. I'm going to call it CC Player. I'm going to go to import and look for the Unreal one that you did with the JSON file for it. That JSON file is for this plugin. It tells the plugin how to load the textures and everything. So if you take this into Blender and then try to bring it in here using this plugin, it's not going to work because it'll be different than what the JSON file is saying, and it'll see that. So the only thing we're going to do is, as you can see, press this Show Advanced button and just use T0's ref pose, import morph targets, and if you have an LOD, then you can press this. If you don't need to. Then press import all. It'll say object file is out of date. Would you like to update it? We'll update it afterwards. So we get all of this. It's coming in little by little. I don't know, it just seems like things are running a little bit slower today. Or maybe I'm just imagining it. Come on. Alright, now we can update it. We got our character here. So we have our skirt. You can go to clothing. If you don't have that window, go to window and go to clothing. It'll bring it up in a box like this. You can just drag that over here like that. That's what I did. So it's saying that we don't have any cloth physics. I expected as much because we haven't made any for it. But we didn't make any cloth physics for it before we brought it in. You can do that through Photoshop, but I've already done videos on that. You can look them up if you want. I've gotten to the point where I prefer to do it in here. So what you're going to do is go to section selection, select the dress, right click on it, create clothing data from section. We're just going to say create. Right click, apply clothing data. don't forget this. Almost everybody forgets this. You have to right click and apply the clothing data, or there won't be any clothing data for physics on that piece of clothing. Now select it, go to activate cloth paint. Now you have this. The thing is too big, you can press the brackets. No, okay, it doesn't work that way. So actually it's the radius here, sorry. Type in something like 15, maybe 5. Yeah, 5 is more doable. So we're going to go to gradient, and we are going to say the start value is 0. That's no physics. And the end value is 100. That's full physics. We don't want that. We want something like maybe 25, I would say. And then what we're going to do is we're going to select somewhere around, let's just go all out and select it from here, and hold down Control so that your thing turns red, and click the endpoint down here, and then press Enter, and you should get a gradient like this. We'll probably have to redo this until we get it right, but for now that should be fine. I'm just going to go to the smooth tool, and I'm going to smooth that out right there, that little dot, pink dot that you've seen. You can turn down the camera speed. You probably want to do that. Maybe not to 1, I would say 2 or 3. And you can use your mouse wheel to speed it up and slow it down. Okay, so now we're going to go into brush. Our paint value, we want it to be 0. And now we're just going to paint until all of this around the top is pink. Pink means no physics. Because if the whole thing is physics, then it's going to fall right off of her. And as much as some of you would like to see that, I don't think it's appropriate for this video. Alright, I think it's time to test it. So deactivate cloth physics. We're obviously going to have to modify these cloth settings and a few other things as well. So as you can see, it looks disgusting, right? Well, those aren't lesions on her leg. Let me show you what they are. So up here on the right, go to physics, and you'll see she has these disgusting, I don't know what happened here. What? I honestly have no clue what happened right here. Why it has all these little things on here. I don't know. Just delete them. We're just going to delete all of these, and we're going to redo them. Actually, let's just hold down Shift and select all of these. And delete them all at once. Okay. Now, of course, I don't know why default inside of these windows is so high. Honestly, personally, if I had the time, I would redo all of this, but I've already done videos on that, so if you want to watch that, feel free to. Go up here to options, go to show all bones. We want to hide our spine bones. We're not worried about those. we want to find her thigh, right click, add shape, add capsule. We are going to rotate this 90 degrees. If you don't have the, we need to rotate it this way 90 degrees. If you don't have the gizmo, you can press W to move, E to rotate, and R to scale. So just press E to rotate that. And we're going to select the middle one to scale the entire thing. Actually you can just select one of these side ones to scale it, because it only scales in two directions, the width, diameter using these, or the height using this one, the blue one. And I'm going to rotate that like so and scale it. And mirror that. If you mirror, it should put it on the other leg for us. Yep. So now we are going to do the, let's see, hide the spines. We're going to do the calf, add shape, add capsule. Do the same thing, press E, rotate it 90. Press R to scale. We just want it to fit the general shape of her legs. I'm gonna make mine overlap slightly here. And now I'm going to mirror it. Okay. So it looks like she needs some around her pelvis. So scroll all the way up here to the top. Select your pelvis. Right click, add shape, add capsule. And move it down until it's not pushing up on this, and scale it appropriately. That should be good for now. We might get some clipping through. If you want it to look better, you have to make you have to put more than one on her pelvis, and then put one on each side around where her butt would be, and try to shape it accordingly. And you just have to adjust all of that. So back over here, and our mesh, go back to the mesh, and then what we're going to do is we're going to activate and deactivate to refresh it. It takes a second. And it's already looking better, as you can see. But we need to adjust the physics settings, obviously. And of course, at the most inopportune time, it says, hey, let's save it. As always. So over here, under your clothing, go to cloth config with the female Unreal clothing thing that you made selected. Expand this cloth config, expand that. Or you can right click and expand all. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to mess with these vertical, horizontal bend or shear constraints. Let's see. These don't need to be. First off, we're going to set this linear and angular drag to 0. That's for wind. We're going to set our solver to 240. So stiffness frequency is probably okay. You can increase the gravity if you want it to be stiffer or less stiff. You decrease it below 1 and it's going to look like it's floating around. That might look good on something like a ghost or something that's supposed to be scary. Tether limit tether limit will make sure that it doesn't stick to the hands during an animation. Normally, if it's sticking to the hands during an animation, a value of about 25 or 30 will fix that. Collision thickness is, I believe, is how far away from the collision bodies it stays, or how close it'll come to them, I should say. You can put that up to something like 2, and you'll see that it goes out further, and it bubbles right here because we used a little round thing. You can go back to physics if you want to leave that at 2, and you can do something like this. Well, might help if you actually select it. And then bring it out like that, I'd say. Maybe down a little. That might be okay. Something like that. I'll go to mesh, we'll activate and deactivate to see exactly what it looks like. I give it a second, it takes a while. And it looks alright back here. Looks okay up here now. Makes her butt look bigger. Yeah. Maybe a little too big. Oh well. So yeah, I mean, what you could do is you could just scale this down like that, and then move it back up and forward a little. And then you could go back here and you could activate and deactivate it again. Trial and error here, guys. But we're not done with these settings yet, so what we're gonna want to do, and let's see, that looks fine. Yeah, I think that looks appropriate. Okay, so what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to set this to something like 1 and 1, and that's self-collision. It keeps it from overlapping with each other, I guess. You can turn that up, but you're going to get some serious performance issues. Set it back to 1 for now. Go to character, go to clothing, and go to self-collision radii. And right now you don't see anything, but if you activate it and deactivate it, you should see collision spheres. Again, this window right here has some refreshing issues. Now, you're going to see collisions for each of these vertexes. When you're simulating physics, cloth physics, it's not good to have the cloth this dense. It will have a performance impact on your game. You don't want a lot of characters that have cloth physics like this, especially not with something as complex and as dense as this cloth is. But what you want to do is you want to try to get these little circles so that they're not intersecting. So you might want to try 1.5. No, I think I'm going too high here. Maybe I need to go down to 0.8. Something like that would probably be appropriate. And you could turn the stiffness up here, I guess. I don't know what the value is. I think it's 0 to 1, but I could be different. I could be wrong here. The friction, in the dampening, if you turn the dampening up, it'll be more stiff, I believe. And same with the friction. If you turn that up, there'll be less movement. So if you want to test this out, let's first turn off that self-collision radii, because that does have a performance impact. You can go to the skeleton tree, go all the way up to the top, select your root, press W, and you can move her up and down, you see, and just press Control W, Control Z to undo that. It doesn't really matter because it's going to reset itself. You can't actually permanently move the root. You can temporarily move it, but then it's just going to correct itself. It's not a permanent thing. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get the third-person blueprint. We're going to go to let's go to the mannequin, the character, the mesh, and then open up the UE4 mannequin skeleton. Select. Go under Retarget Manager. If you don't have that, go into Window and Retarget Manager. Then go to Select Rig. Go to Select Humanoid Rig. Press Auto Map. And what that's going to do is it's going to try to find the root bone for this skeleton, and it's going to say this is the root bone, this is the pelvis, this is the clavicle L, so on and so forth. And so that Unreal knows which bone is which for when we retarget. Now go back to your female skeleton, and if you go to CC Player, you can double click this one right here, and you're going to do the same thing to her. Select Humanoid Rig and Auto Map, and it's going to do the same thing on her. Now what you're going to do is you're going to go to Mannequin Animations, and right here, this AnimBP, it contains references to all of these animations. So we're just going to retarget this one, and we're going to select our female. It should show up here. If it doesn't show up here, go back to your player, open up your female Unreal skeleton, and check in the preview scene settings right here. And if there's an apply button right here, press it, and then it should work. And if not, check the mannequin skeleton as well. And if it's still not working, then you did something wrong. Go back and watch it again. So right click, retarget, duplicate anim, select your character, go to change. Over here under folder, just go to change, select CC Player, right click, create new folder, call it animations. Now press OK. You don't have to do anything else, just press retarget. And now go to your third person blueprint and open this up. Go to your character folder, select your Unreal Female, select the mesh inside of the third person character components tab over here. Select the female Unreal mannequin and then press the back button, and it'll add her right there. Now go into your animations folder, select your third person AnimBP, and under animations, under animation class, do the same thing, press the back button, and that will assign that animation blueprint to your character. Now we're going to test it by pressing play. I'm going to press F11 so you can see it better. And there we go. And actually, that turned out far better than what I thought it would. Now, I do have, you can actually adjust the clothing settings. So if we come back over here, and we go to our Unreal Engine female skeleton, or a mesh, go to the mesh, go to clothing, come over here to dampening, and you can turn that back down to something like 4.5, 1.4. And let's see how that affects it. See, now our clothing is a bit more reactive because there's less dampening. And yeah, there you go, guys. So that turned out great, and I actually thought I would have more issues with this than what I did. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I did. So yeah. Also, if you get stuff like that, you see how our leg is clipping through. If you want to prevent that, for one, you need to go to Physics, and as you can see, we deleted the collision off of her feet. So let's go ahead and do that actually. So under foot L, right click and add shape, and just add a box this time. And this should fix that issue. Just R to scale, and drag that out and move it down so it's covering her foot. You might need to rotate it. Okay, so up here under snapping, go to 10, and it's like 2.8. That normally works well for me. And then right click and mirror it. And if it still does it, if you want to learn how to do this properly and set up the constraints properly, then go and watch my video on it. I do have a video that describes how to do that properly. I didn't do it properly for this video for time reasons. But if you're still getting issues with that, you can increase this tether limit, and that should fix it. So now we shouldn't get that anymore. Also, you'll see it kind of bulges out a little bit. That's because we got that sticking out a little bit too far there. So if we go back over here to our Physics, we can select select the other one, so it selects both of them, and just move them forward ever so slightly, and then test it again. It's still doing it because it's actually on the outside. Okay, and they need to actually be brought in further. So we're gonna have to bring it in further like this. We could also do this and mirror it. It'll take a second, and then mirror this one, and that'll fix it so that they're symmetric. And we still have a few issues, but yeah. And if you watch my other videos, my videos on cloth physics, you'll get a better understanding of that and how to fix that stuff. It would take too long if I went into all that stuff on here. Also, because we moved those bodies forward, you can see now the back of the calves are sticking through, so I actually shouldn't have moved those forward like I did. So we'll move those back a bit as well. And also you could try maybe turning this collision thickness down to about 1.5. That'll also help. Looks a little bit better. Anyway, it needs some adjusting, but you can see we pretty much did it. So yeah, if you found this helpful, feel free to leave a comment. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it. It does help my channel out. So yeah, I appreciate it, guys.